really got. But I'd like to get one more story in here, ladies,
Yeah.
at least. So
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Somebody
you.
else. Somebody else. Come on. Brave soul. Brave soul.
Anybody have started?
I got one more.
I
Okay,
was
come on, dear.
A foster child.
Okay, great. Great. I'm going to get
Oh, yeah.
one more in here, and then we're going to have to wrap it up.
Can I go there a little bit? She wants me to make that break then.
Yeah. Tell me your name.
I'm Melinda Card.
Melinda. Card, C-A-R-D?
Oh, yes.
Okay, great. All right, talk to me. What's going on?
Well, I was a foster child. I was in from the time I was 13 until I was 18. I had a child whenever I was 17 in foster care, and they tried to take her. They weren't able to because thankfully the judge had put on there that there was a stipulation she wasn't to be removed from me unless we went back into court. Thankfully. However, because they weren't able to take her, she's now 14, I've counted 17 unsubstantiated investigations.
Oh my gosh.
I know there's more, but I haven't gotten my documentations yet. And it's been retaliation after retaliation after retaliation of non-substantiated bull.
Did you have more children?
I have 4.
And they haven't taken them?
No,
Oh,
they haven't.
goodness.
They've tried. They tried to they tried to put me on the child maltreatment list because my baby fell off of a car. I immediately took him to the hospital, of course, and he was fine. They checked him out, said he was fine, but they would not release us. So I said, okay, well, he's fine. He's walking around. He's running around, causing a mess in here. We're going home. So they called DHS on that. And, I mean, we had to go through all kinds of court cases to get that thrown out, but thankfully it was. But
So on the 17 or so or plus investigations, have you ended up in court with those? That you've had to fight any of them in court?
just that one.
Oh, wow.
And it wasn't until later that I got smart and realized that they have to oblige with a warrant as well. It's not just
And what county are you in?
Sebastian.
So where is that from here?
Fort Smith. It's,
Oh.
it's Fort Smith.
Yeah, northwest.
Yeah, it was about 2 hours. But, so I was in care. I was in many foster
So how
homes.
many foster homes were you in? Do you know?
I don't know.
Quick
Too
count.
many to count.
Wow.
I mean, I think the
And why were
longest,
they moving you?
how often?
Or why? Why were they moving you? Why would they tell you they were moving you?
Because they didn't have room in that foster home. It was just a temporary one. We had a person that wanted to adopt me, but they didn't want me to be adopted, so they moved me out of that home. So I would stay in a home anywhere from 2 hours to, I think the longest was a year, and that was a group home. And I ended up running from that home because they were getting investigated, and they did end up having a few that ended up getting fired and some different issues that they
So
They didn't get charged.
do you have any relationship with your biological family?
My biological family is very strained. I would like to say that we have a great relationship, but we don't have a relationship.
Do you know why you were removed?
I do.
Why?
It was because my stepfather tried to molest me. He didn't. He came in and asked if I would, and I said that I wouldn't. And then I ended up running away from that home. I went to a police station and turned them in. They tried to put me back in the home, and I refused to go back. And I told them if they sent me back, I would run away again. I didn't realize what I was getting into.
Nice.
So I went into care, and essentially, other than 2 foster homes, every foster home has been abusive in one way or another, whether physically, verbally, mentally, sexually. I mean, and it's not just me. My peers were also very abused, and it's not if they've been abused. It's what kind of abuse have they endured. Because when you get in a group home, you hear everyone's story and everyone's telling their story to each other. And the stories are horrible. They are traumatizing these children like nobody's business. I also worked in a group home, the Fort Smith shelter that I was in. And the only reason I did is because I knew the director that was there. And I had no clue what CPS really was. While I was there, I witnessed and assisted with babies being removed from teenage mothers who were very good parents. I cannot tell you one parent that I've seen a baby removed from who was in care that needed it.
Okay, so, and you were removed at what, 13? Is that what you said?
Yes.
13?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're 13 years old, you're just becoming a young lady, you know, you're just going from childhood to that transition period to adulthood. You're stripped from your biological family, put in multiple homes, then put in a group home, which there's no, I mean, through that process, through that whole process for 5 years until you aged out, were there any relationships during that period that were family-like? That you could say, that you still today could go like, oh, that person was awesome?
There is a home. It was my very last home that I did end up, I had to stay a year after I turned 18 because I had my child, and then the month later I turned 18.
Mm-hmm.
But they would not release my child, and I wasn't going to leave without her, so I refused to leave. So that time period after they tried to rip my child, they did rip my child from my arms and shoved me out the door. But after that incident, I went into another home, and her name is Neva Dunlap. And I've heard stories about her home, but she was fantastic to me and the other two mothers.
So did you take your baby with you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and she was only expecting me, and we showed up with baby, and she's like, absolutely, come on. And I actually have strong ties with her family still.
Wow, that's good. At least somebody. So, and how old are your children now? What's the age range?
I have 14, 12, 10, and 8.
Okay, so I'm just going to ask you this because this is, you know, I've worked with families for 25 years, all different kinds of families. Are you concerned that, so your oldest child is 14, which is about the time that you were severed from your relationship with your family. So are you concerned about, even forgetting that they've tried to remove them from you, about your ability to parent through that transitional period because of the experience that you've had? I mean, how do you deal with that as a parent? How are you looking forward to the next 5 years of the oldest child going through the teenage years and maturing into adult, as well as you've got a couple other coming on, because teenage years are not easy. So, I mean, just kind of how do you process that? What do you see as far as your relationship with that? Is it a female, girl, or boy?
She's a female.
Okay. So your